Hey y'all, I just want to come to y'all with a new video. Sorry if there's any noise in the background, just doing some laundry. So currently in Canada, they're developing a synthetic fish. Basically, this is a lab-made fish, and it's a combination of other fishes together. And normally when these mad scientists or these so-called, they think they're geniuses, basically bringing the world into a plague-like state with this genetic modification. What they've done is taken different DNA from multiple different fish and put it together. Excuse me. And normally, when I see that they do things like that, is because they want to take like a genetic strength from a fish and put it all together. So making some type of super fish. So let's say one fish has like a antibody in their actual fish body that can fight off diseases. They're going to put all that together and combine some type of super powered fish. So what they're doing now is developing some type of salmon that requires less food, and they put a bunch of DNA together. So it's some type of Frankenstein-like fish. This fish is going to be sold all over the USA, and also the FDA has approved this synthetic modified fish. And best believe if they're doing this to animals, they're also doing this to people. We've talked about synthetic human beings on my channel before. Fake human beings, not just the Nephilim, but they are synthetic human beings that are living amongst us. People are not actually people. They are basically Frankenstein, demonic possessed phenotype. Their phenotype looks like human, but they're not human. They don't possess a soul. They're dark entities that are walking among us. And you see this. It's a normal occurrence whenever you see these mad scientists of this world, which are usually just atheists and they're very dark people. Whenever they do things to animals, it's usually a testing phase to see if they can do these things to animals and then transition into people. Just like when they use lab rats, they test medications on lab rats so that they can start eventually, going towards using it in human beings. It's the same concept. For years, these people want to clone people, but they just don't understand that they cannot create an actual clone that's a human being. A human being is created by God and God alone. But I'm going off the subject here. Let me just go back to this fish stuff. But what the FDA has already approved this fish because it's a money grab for them. They're all about money. The FDA doesn't care about people's actual health, and they're working with the Illuminati and the people in high positions in this world. There's many times these lobbyists have went to people in position and power to approve these very dangerous drugs or these foolish things into our world, into the United States, just to make sure they have, profit for their business, but they're not actually caring about people. The FDA is very corrupt. They're corrupt people. So they're going to be selling this fish in the United States, and it's coming from Canada. And the worst part about it is that this fish does not even have to be labeled as GMO, genetically modified organisms. They do not have to be labeled this way. So when you go to the supermarket and you get your fish, you get your food, you think you're eating actual real food, you wouldn't even know. You're not going to know because they don't require them to label them GMOs, which is ridiculous. People should have the option to say whether they want to eat synthetic fish, things that are unhealthy in their bodies. They always tell us that oh, this thing is healthy, that is healthy, and then years later they come out and say, oh, we're gonna have to do a recall because this person died of cancer, and for some reason we found out it was not as safe as we thought because they're trying to use the American people as some type of test subject to launch their mad science, fantasies and use you to basically test their freakish food. And the sad thing is that these people are rich people. They're at positions in power. These are people in the Illuminati. They themselves would never eat this stuff, but they're going to feed it to you and your children and your children's children and children's children, and then they wonder why our world is full of cancers and all these diseases. God didn't put us on this earth to go into labs to graze fake animals, synthetic animals. He did not, make this world a world of corruption. The human beings made it corrupt by doing these things, and it's outrageous that they're feeding us these foods, and that they're not telling us what's actually in it. And you can see the trend. It started from the Asian countries as well. The Asian countries, they have these fake seafood. And sometimes I've ordered food at like Asian style restaurants before, and they've given me this fake crab meat that's made from this like dough. It's like a fake dough that has like food coloring, and they don't tell you until it's on your plate. And I'm just like, hey, is this real crab? What is this? And they're like, oh no, it's a fake crab. Well, you should give me the option to let me know, or let me know that I'm eating fake food. Like, give me the option to decline that stuff, like to actually pay extra. I will pay extra so I can eat real food. Why should I be eating Play-Doh? I don't want to eat Play-Doh. It's literally like a dough with like a food coloring over it, and it's like fake crab meat. And I've gotten this fake crab multiple times by just ordering soup, like just normal like seafood type of soup, seafood type style food at Asian restaurants, and been given fake crab meat. And I'm just like, if that's fake, what else is fake? What else are they serving us? You know, I think it's insane that they're treating the American people like we're just a bunch of lab rats. We should be able to make the decision if we want to go ahead and buy this fake food. Why don't they put money into the grazers, like the people who graze fish? Why don't give them money to make sure the supply is enough to feed people? Why is it that these people are taking away from mom and pop stores that are actually selling real food? I'm sorry, y'all. I can't do anything about these ads, but let me go ahead and put this video back. But anyway, they are giving us these fake. Look at this. What a telling ad. You're going to end up in the hospital. This ad is playing. You end up in the hospital eating this fake food. Look at this guy. But anyway, if that ain't a sign, it's just ridiculous. But why do they take away from stores like wicked places like Walmart that are selling food in masses? Like, the people that own Walmart would never eat the garbage that they sell. I told you all about the synthetic eggs that I've eaten at Walmart before. It's not even real eggs. It is made of a plastic material. It's made of a weird plastic dough material. And when you eat it, it feels like you've eaten melted plastic. I didn't even know they had fake eggs. So after noticing that the food was making me sick and that I was literally having horrible pain in my throat from swallowing it because it was so hard, I feel like eating rocks, I started doing some research and found out that they were actually selling synthetic eggs, fake eggs. It's just outrageous. And they were selling it so cheaply. I should have known. I went to Walmart and they were just selling the eggs extremely cheap, less than $1, y'all. Less than $1 for a whole carton of eggs? 12? Just very suspicious. Very suspicious. And they were having some type of huge sale. And there were multiple different ones of them, like the sizes. And they were going as cheap, so cheap. Cheaper with the sizes. I was like, let me get a few of these. I regret buying it because it was synthetic eggs. And I believe the Holy Spirit revealed that to me because I kept eating it. And I was just like, something is not right here. Something isn't right. But they're selling us fake food. They're making people sick. The American people already have so much cancer in their bodies, and these hospitals are like the demon spawn of Satan, because they will charge you thousands of dollars just for a knee sprain. And could you imagine going through cancer? You're going to be in debt. They're trying to put us in debt. These people already have cures for so many diseases like cancer, but cancer is a money-making disease. They don't want to cure cancer. Don't listen to them when these people are saying, I'm going to cure cancer. Cancer has already been cured. God has put certain ingredients in this world, plants, natural things that are healing our bodies. These people are fully aware of that, and they're not going to reveal those things to you, because the cancer and the drug administration and the medical bullies of this world, these people are money-making organizations. Some of these hospitals are privately owned. Some of them are privately owned by business moguls. Okay, they're trying to gain money off of your sickness and your death. They don't care about you. They're just going to keep feeding you fake animals. These are fake animals. These are not made from God. These are fake, demon possessed synthetic animals. Okay, so don't eat this garbage. Don't eat this stuff, man. This stuff's gonna make you sick. And I hope y'all stay blessed. In the name of Lord Jesus Christ. Read your labels when you go to the store. Read your labels. I want y'all to maybe check out a little bit of this video here.
Done 3 years ago, scientists performed DNA tests on more than 1,200 samples of fish from nearly 700 different stores and restaurants. They found 1 out of 3 fish were mislabeled in violation of FDA regulations. Here with more is Larry Olmsted, author of Real Food, Fake Food, Why You Don't Know What You're Eating and What You Can Do About It. Hi, Larry. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Larry, in the 3 years since this study was done by Oceana, has there been any improvement? What was the industry response?
We are just now starting to see some improvement. In 2014, President Obama created a task force to combat seafood fraud via presidential memorandum, and that's taken a while. It's joint chaired by the Secretaries of Commerce and State, and they are now coming out with their recommendations, and a lot of changes will start to take effect later this year, including stepped up FDA investigations and use of a new DNA lab, and a whole new kind of FDA anti-fraud program. So I think we are going to see some positive benefits, but they haven't really come around yet.
And in terms of the fishing industry itself, how did the industry respond?
Well, the National Fisheries Institute, which is the trade group for the seafood industry, has taken fraud pretty seriously. They launched their own Better Seafood Board and make members take vows not to do certain things that are in violation of their ethics, and they encourage consumers to use restaurants that buy from a distributor who's a member of the Better Seafood Board.
Right, so setting up a sort of honor code, as it were. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the actual fake fish. Which fish do experts say is most often faked?
Definitely red snapper. Red snapper is sort of the poster child for fish fraud. In that another study Oceana did, 94% of the time people ordered at restaurants or retail, they did not get red snapper. The number one substitute is a fish called tilefish, which is high enough in mercury to make the FDA's do not eat list for pregnant women. Tilapia is another common substitute.
Ooh, so why does seafood uniquely lend itself to fraud? Is it just that those white fish fillets look so similar?
That's absolutely a big part of it. I mean, it's not that the people in seafood are inherently evil or different from the other industries, but when you go to buy chicken, for example, you might buy organic or you might buy regular, but you don't buy by breed. You just buy chicken. Seafood is thousands of different species, hundreds of which are widely commercially available. So it's just much more confusing, and we as consumers are a little more detached. You could take a fillet of almost any whitefish and put it next to another one, and we could not tell what fish that came from.
And you say also that a huge amount of the fish that we eat in this country is imported from abroad, correct?
Yeah, over 90%. I say 91% in my book. That was the best data when I went to press, but New York Magazine a couple of weeks ago said it's up to 95%.
Wow. And one of the tips that you have, because I want to get to your tips, is to buy from American fisheries, correct? Those are just more carefully regulated?
Absolutely. I mean, Alaska has some of the cleanest waters, best seafood you can get, very sustainable, very well monitored. The Gulf of Mexico for shrimp, oysters, crab in particular, fantastic fishery. Some good fisheries off the East Coast, Gulf of Maine. So, even the farm fish is better in the U.S. The problem is there's very little aquaculture here because of the cost. I think that's something we'll see more of in the future.
All right. So obviously we can control what we're eating a little bit more if we're buying the fish. Like you said, we can find out a little bit better where it's coming from. You say Whole Foods does a good job of sourcing their fish. But what if we're at a restaurant? Do you have tips for getting what you order?
Yeah, I mean, restaurant is definitely tougher. I would avoid or be very skeptical of red snapper, grouper. Those are the most substituted fish in restaurants. Also, high value fish, whether it's wild caught Alaskan salmon or red snapper, are not that easy for restaurants to get good quality fish. So restaurants serving them should use a good distributor. I would always ask who that distributor is, and if they don't have a sort of instant answer, that's a red flag.
All right, Larry Olmsted, thank you so much for that. I'm a big fish lover, so I take everything you say to heart. Thank you for that.
Thanks for having me.